hello. We are gathered this morning to answer some questions that people commonly have about the high school building project. I'm Bob Czekanski, a member of the Neshoba High School Building Committee and a member of the Select Board in Bolton. With me is Joe Gleason, Chairman of the School Building Committee and Secretary of the School Committee, and Kirk Downing, Superintendent of Neshoba Regional. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Glad we could all get together this morning. Joe, let me start with you. Can you say a few words on why we need a new Neshoba Regional High School?
Thank you, Mr. Czekanski. I always start out by introducing myself again. So my name is Joseph Gleason. I am the chairperson of the Neshoba Regional Neshoba Regional High School Building Committee and a member of the Neshoba Regional School District Committee from Lancaster. In regards to your question, Mr. Czekanski, I would suggest that I look at the project and the need for a new high school from the back end of it, it's from the front end. I think that a lot of people in our district will look at this project and say, well, you know, it's an aging building, its conditions are such that, you know, we really should be looking to invest in a new high school. You know, education is changing, technology is changing, and we want to build a school that will address the educational needs for the 21st century for our children, as well as create a community center for our constituency, and to otherwise bring together a new high school that will help enhance the value of all of our property throughout the district. And I think that's sort of the pat answer. I don't look at it from that perspective. I look at it from the back end. I say that the Massachusetts School Building Authority has given our district an opportunity with their financial assistance to build a new state-of-the-art high school. There's an old expression, many are called but few are chosen. But I think that we have one of the chosen ones, and that it would be remiss of our district to not embrace this opportunity to utilize and to embrace the assistance of the Mass School Building Authority to help bring a new high school to our district.
Okay, thank you. Kirk, this proposed project has been in the work for many years. Please share the process that brought us to this point in the decision.
Thank you for that question. Again, Kirk Downing, Superintendent in Neshoba Regional. So the school building was built in 1961, so it's an aging building. And as we've tried to deal with some of the mechanical and physical issues of the building over the years, it was in 2018 that our school committee voted to engage with the MSBA and submit a statement of interest to see if they would participate in the construction, redesign, or fixing of our new high school. Initially they turned us down, but only in the second submission did they accept us, and they brought us up to the front of the queue, and that's when we went out to our voters and asked for $1.5 million to conduct a feasibility study. And through that feasibility study, we determined that repairing the building at a cost of $120 million without MSBA participation was one option. A renovation redesign was another option that would have been to a tune of estimated around a $255 million project. Ultimately, the feasibility study determined new construction is the best solution. And new construction is going to, total cost of the project is going to be $241 million, with the taxpayer impact being $176 million. Of which the MSBA is participating with almost $65 million toward the cost of the project. So where we're at in that phase now is we've submitted our schematic design to the MSBA, and we need to demonstrate that our communities are ready to put forward and fund the project. And so that's what brings us here today with the upcoming town meetings and ballot initiatives that will be happening this fall.
Okay, thank you. Joe, tell us some more about the Massachusetts School Building Authority and why they are important to this project.
Well, the Massachusetts School Building Authority is a quasi-independent governmental agency that was created in 2004 under then Governor Mitt Romney. The purpose of the MSBA is to oversee what is called the School Building Assistance Program, which is a program that funds the building and/or renovation of public schools in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. the MSBA is able to generate the funds necessary for this financial assistance through legislation that diverts at least 1 cent of every sales tax paid in the Commonwealth to the MSBA. So the importance of the MSBA is especially for regional public school districts who do not have the ability to raise revenues on their own. They provide the necessary financial assistance for all schools, especially regional schools, in order to finance and fund renovation and construction of new buildings or renovation of older buildings in our Commonwealth. And that's basically it.
Okay, thank you. Kirk, how does MSBA determine the grant allotment for this project?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's been a lot of discussion about what the reimbursement rate is and the difference between what is called the base rate and what is the effective rate. And so you would have seen in recent meetings that our base rate is just over 55% from the MSBA. I think it's important for the voters to hear that that does not mean that's the percentage of total support of the project, because the base rate is 55% of eligible costs of the building. So for instance, some costs have caps on them. You can't spend more than 10% of the total budget on site costs, as an example. There's other limitations as well, and that is the square footage ceiling. The square footage ceiling is $393 a square foot. Interestingly enough, if we had built the building at the same time Attleboro High School first started building their building in 2018, and we were on that timeline, it would have been $333 a square foot. However, the difference between that day and today, the cost of construction has skyrocketed. With the pandemic, economic conditions of that same time, as supply chains were interrupted and there were foreign wars going on. So as a result, the square foot cap didn't keep up with the rising costs of construction. So that 393 square foot cap limits us right now to approximately, we couldn't have gone more than 34 or 35% of the total building project cost because of that limitation. So when you add on the other ceiling limitations, that's where we come to know as the effective rate. And the effective rate for this project is approximately 27%, which means that's the percentage that the MSB is contributing to the project. And they'll be voting on that decision on August 30th.
Okay, thank you. Joe, knowing these conditions, how much do the towns need to contribute to the project, and how is that determined?
Okay, so I'm going to read from my notes, because if I told you I memorized these, I'd be remiss. Right now, as Superintendent Downing has said, the total cost of this project is estimated to be approximately $314,926. That is the amount that the district committee has approved. So from that amount, as Superintendent Downing just said, our effective reimbursement rate will be somewhere about 26.5 to 27%. That amount translates into approximately $64,811,362, which will be contributed by the Mass School Building Authority. Of that amount, that leaves $176,903,564 to be contributed by our 3 sending communities. The numbers that we have been presented to the committee and were approved of last week are approximately as follows. Town of Bolton will be looking at an assessment of $56,379,165. The town of Lancaster will be looking at an assessment of $58,325,105. And the town of Stowe will be looking at an assessment of $62,199,293. Those figures are based on the contribution provisions under the regional school agreement based on the fiscal year 24 enrollment. So those are the numbers that each of our 3 sending communities are looking at this time.
Okay, thank you. And how can residents learn more about the project and all the work that's led us to this particular moment?
Well, let me start at the beginning of where our project started. And it started in December of 2020. Everyone that you will be hearing from today is a member of our building committee. And the majority of the people that you will be hearing from today have been with this committee since December of 2020. Our newest members are Mr. Mulcairn, who you'll hear from later, and Ms. Friend, who is our assistant superintendent. But as far as the project is concerned, we've been meeting monthly since December of 2020. We've been holding public forums over the last year or so, providing information to all of our constituency regarding every aspect of this particular project. As far as moving forward is concerned, I can tell you right now, we meet approximately every third Thursday of each month, depending on the Bolton Select Board meeting schedule, where we make some adjustments to accommodate the town of Bolton in that regard. Our next public forum is going to be September 11th. We hope that as many people as possible will be able to come and be a part of that public forum. I can't recommend this enough, I would strongly recommend that if there are anybody who's watching this and is interested in this project, you need to go online. I'm not sure if the reservation forms are available. Yeah. They are available? Okay. Yeah. September 9th, we're having our second building tours for the public. If you want to see something that will make your jaw drop, you need to come and be a part of those tours. You will see things in that school that will boggle your mind. Mr. Frieswick will speak later about the conditions, but Mr. Frieswick was kind enough to give me a personal tour December of last year, and it was an amazing 2 hours that I spent going through that school and to see the deficiencies of that school. And I'll leave you with this. The one thing that as far as the building is concerned, it was hit home to me by one of our architects. We were getting ready for one of our public forums, and he began to just point out in the auditorium some of the deficiencies with the building. And I think there are a lot of people in the community that will look at the building and say, well, maybe a little patch up here, a little repair there, and I think you'll be good. One of the things that he brought to my attention were I guess you would call them the walkways or the concourses in the auditorium. And I never really thought of this because I'm not handicapped. He said they're not ADA compliant. And I looked at the angle of those and I thought to myself, if I were in a wheelchair and I lost control of my wheelchair coming down that ramp, it would be a disaster. But as far as your question is concerned, we meet every month. We meet every month, every third Thursday or so. We have our public forums coming up. We have our tours on the 9th of September. But more importantly, if you want to go back and you want to see the whole history of this project, just about every one of our building committee meetings has been recorded and is available at the district's website. All of our minutes are part of the district website. All of our meeting materials are the district website. And just a little plug for our host today, it was Mr. Czekanski who was very insistent that we have all of these meetings recorded. And I think, Bob, with the exception of maybe one or two meetings where we had some technical issues, I think all of our meetings are been memorialized and are there for anybody who wants to sit down and listen to everything.
Even our early in-person meetings are recorded.
Yes.
So, yeah. Superintendent Downing, Chairman Gleason, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Czekanski.
Appreciate it.